Good morning. Our hand today is going to be Ace 3 of Hearts. In mid position here, open raise to 3 big blinds. My mid position range is this, about 16%. I get 2 callers. I get a caller from mid position and I get a caller from big blind. Big blind's going to probably be pockets, suited aces, maybe some suited broadways. He's going to be fairly tight. He's playing 22 when we look at his pre-flop stats. We don't have a whole lot because 9 hands, but up to this point he's been fairly tight. So I'm just assuming that he's calling because he's getting some odds to call, and he has some hand that he could connect with. Villain 1, on the other hand, is loose. 96 hands, he's played 47%. When you look at pre-flop mid-position stats, he's looking at 48% VPIP, 11% pre-flop raise, 15% raise first in, 38% limps. 1 out of 7 is a 3-bet. Pre-flop, he calls a 2-bet, 29%, 2 out of 7. Cold called a 2-bet, 1 out of 5. So I kind of think he's calling here with about 30%, maybe 25%. So I built 30%, something like this. Suited aces, suited kings. You got suited connectors, one gappers, hands that could make a straight, could make a flush. We've got pocket pairs. I had to add in offsuit connectors to kind of bring us up to 30%. I think he's got offsuit broadways. His 3-bets, though, he has 3-bet with 8s. So his 3-bet range: kings, 8s, ace, king. I didn't include 8s. I just said like queens plus ace, king. I think 8s might be something that maybe he raised like on the button versus a cutoff. It's just, again, haven't seen a huge number of his hands, but we're going from there. Maybe he does raise with all these pocket pairs, and the range is actually much weaker than what I expect. But this is what I ran with. Flop comes out ace, king, jack. So I've got top pair, weak kicker with the heart draw. Villain 5 checks. I do think I have some advantage. However, it's almost a little neutral for the callers. I think queen 10's out there, king queen, queen jack, ace queen, ace jack, king 10. I think those hands are all out there. I think they're all going to be calling. I think all the pocket pairs are probably just going to fold. But suited aces, I think, would call at least 1 bet. I do have heart draw, so I'm going to be aggressive, and I c-bet it. And villain 1 calls. Turn was queen of hearts. That's great. Gave me flush. Went ahead and bet half pot again. Villain calls. And then the ace comes out. Not the prettiest of cards. I kind of think that I would have expected like an ace jack to raise, maybe ace queen to raise on the turn. However, once that heart came in, I think that changes people's plans. They don't really want to raise with 2-pair, don't really want to raise with trips. So I still fired half pot. If he shows up with full house, he shows up with a full house. But I think a 10 could possibly call. I think some of these players at the lower stakes, they get stubborn and they call with that straight. And he did call, so we get to see a showdown. I'm curious about this play. I think more important was the bet sizing, and I'm not quite sure how to go about looking at bet size yet with GTO Plus. But we're gonna check my play. Should I have maybe checked and gone for maybe a check raise on that turn? Is that going to be a little bit better? Just looking at stats, we're looking at turn. Probe is 33%. I'm not sure if I check here if he's going to probe or not. It's only 3 times. I guess if we had a player that did it, that probed maybe 33%, but let's say it's 3 out of 9. Yeah, I think we could possibly do that. Go for some extra value with the check raise. but it just kind of comes down to the player. With this player, we've got fold to c-bet stat was 2 out of 2 when he's in position. Well, he didn't do that, and he's never really been up against continuation bets. So I want to check out, see how my play looks using GTO, and see if there's any spot where I should have just gone ahead and checked. All right, so here is GTO. We start off, it does look like we're betting about 38% of the time. Kind of reflects the fact that we're not like super ahead by any means. At least our range is not super ahead. We're looking at ace 3. Yeah, it does look like we are betting, or we can bet the majority of the time with our ace heart. Ace 10, ace 9, ace 8 look to be more checks. Ace 7, kind of 50-50. We're betting strong our ace jack, ace queen, ace king. Except ace queen off. Ace queen off. Yeah, ace queen's kind of interesting. Probably about 50% between suited and offsuits. Looks like we're betting more frequently with ace king and ace jack. So with 2 pair, we're betting, but with ace queen, looks like maybe 50-50 overall. It's a top pair type hand. King queen, we're not betting, we're checking. Aces, we're mostly betting, half and half. Definitely betting if we have ace of hearts. I guess that's okay because it's we block the heart flush. And I had thought about this before. You know, is it better if we don't have the heart? Like if we've got the diamond or the club, because it allows the other players to have a flush draw. But I guess in this case, probably not, because the flush does have outs against us. So if we have the ace of hearts and we run up against the flush, we always have backdoor potential to get running hearts. Mid pocket pairs, we're not betting. Jacks, we're mostly betting. No, probably not. 57-43, 58-42 seems to be what we're looking at. So yeah, not super common with trip jacks. We're more like we're betting aces and kings as opposed to jacks. Small pocket pairs we're betting. 6-5s, 10-8, 10-9. We're betting those. I'm sure are bluffs with our gut shot. Yeah, definitely those are going to have to be counted as bluffs to kind of offset some of these other big hands. So I think my bet's fine. Villain's going to be calling. He calls with pretty wide range here. You could see wide range, top pair, second pair, third pair, gut shots, open enders. I guess you could say gut shots only. We don't have open enders at that point. So he's calling 60%, and I think that's why we're not betting as much. We're not c-betting as much, because Villain's supposed to be calling with a large part of his range. He is calling frequently. He's not folding 60%. So he's calling 60%. He does call, and this is the Queen of Hearts comes out on the turn. And then you can see that we're betting about 20%. And I'm looking at these hearts. So yeah, it does look like ace 3, ace 4, ace 5, 5 of hearts. We're betting, but we're not. We're checking like ace 8, ace 9, ace 10 of hearts. So we're betting that the ace with a weak kicker with our flush, but we're not betting the middle kicker. We're also betting, these low flushes, 5, 6, 7, 6. Looks like we're betting pocket sevens, some pocket sixes, especially if we've got the heart. Yeah, 5 of hearts, 6 of hearts, 7 hearts. We're being aggressive with these, and I think we're being aggressive with these, and as yeah, I hate to use the word bluff, but it's to offset our flushes that we currently have. Aces, mostly betting. You're mostly betting with the ace of hearts, but kings checking, queens are mostly checking, jacks are mostly checking, queen tens mostly checking, all of the straights are mostly checking. So I think our bet's okay. We could also have checked. So had we checked and villain bets, what do we do? It looks like we are raising, so we do go for check raise a portion of the time, and that's, I guess, against a player that we know, a player that only has about 100 hands. I don't think we really know him. I don't think he really knows us. But if some of these players were have 1 and 2,000 hands on him, this might be a good spot where I fired out a c-bet. I connect with my heart. I could check, and if they bet, then especially if they show a pro bet frequency, sizable 30%, maybe 40%, we can go for the check raise. So we would have gone for the check raise, and then villain should fold or should call, and then that ace of clubs, then we're basically checking. If villain bets, we're probably going to be calling. It's about 50-50 whether or not we call at that point, because I think if we check raise and he calls, we're looking at a straight. We're probably looking at trips, maybe 2 pair at this point, like an ace queen, ace jack. Although I think ace queen, ace jack could possibly find a fold. So I didn't do that. I bet, and villain is still going to be calling like 67%. I mean, wide, very, very wide range. Now, this range has flushes. He's calling flushes, but he's calling like 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. He's calling with those 2 pairs that he has, all the Broadway, well, almost all the Broadway 2 pairs. The Queen Jack does not. Queen Jack does not call here, or GTO suggests it doesn't call. And then with our aces, the only aces that he should be calling would be those ace X of hearts, but we know I blocked that, so he does call, and then the ace of clubs comes out, and now if he calls twice, we are leading. So yeah, the river bet's pretty good. He calls, and we'll get to see what he has. So right now, GTO kind of agrees with what we're doing, and we can look ahead and see what else. Well, let's look to see what his hand was first. All right, so we did make showdown. He shows a7 of diamonds. Should he have a diamond? No, he doesn't. He shouldn't have a diamond at all. Was it in his range? Yeah, we've got it. A7 of diamonds in his opening range. So where did he go wrong? So we bet. He is supposed to call there, so that's good. Then I bet. This is where he's supposed to dump his diamonds. He did not do that. So I'm gonna say if he's calling with all of those diamonds, then our betting range is probably gonna be opened up a bit more. We're gonna be leaning more towards betting some ace 10s, ace 9s, ace 8s, because he's gonna be calling with all of those, and we can actually do that. So if he calls, just say he's calling with all of those. I think he calls with ace jack. He's calling with all of those. So let's rerun the solver and come back when it's done. All right, so our bet frequency did go up. Higher. So we're now betting at 36% frequency. We do have ace 10 pop up, but ace 9, ace 8 looks like it stays. Well, ace 8, those are hearts. I would have expected these to go up a little bit. I think we've added more of these hands. Villain calls, very high percentage. Now when we add all of those suited aces, so I think what we're picking up is just being a little bit more aggressive with our 2 pairs and stuff. So ace king some of our ace queens, our queens and jacks. So like queens and jacks, if I remember correctly, we weren't betting these with the trips. We were just checking. So now we are betting those. We're betting our queen jack. Also, two paired again. I'm gonna guess because of the increase in the suited ace x suited. So he calls then, and then we bet, and villain should be folding all of those, but he's not. So now, if he called with those, probably ace 9 off as well. Let's do that. Let's just change that to those two calls. Not even have those as raises. That's better. All right, let's run the solver again. I will be back. My prediction here. So prediction was always if you're gonna call with weaker hands, then we're gonna be betting with more of our hands. So if he's calling with those aces, I think when we look here, well, it may actually alter the turn now because we're already betting almost 90% of the time. Let's see what the solver does. All right, ran the solver. Now it didn't really affect the turn much. We're still betting at about 38%. He calls. Now we're just instead of at 90%, we're betting everything. And I'm not sure why we're betting everything if we know he's gonna have a lot more top pair type hands. These are all our flushes. We're betting, 5, 6, 7s. These must all just be partially bluffs. I don't even think I could bet those. If I know that the villain's calling with those aces, he should be calling or should be folding 7s, 8s, 9s. It has him folding 10s too. I just don't think that's possible here. I just think that if we start adding those, then let's do those. He called the top pair. He's obviously change those. His full houses. Ace jack, ace queen. Raise the jacks. All right. Let's run this. Let's make this. I think this is probably getting better. Let's run the solver. We'll be back. All right. Modified it. So bet, call. Now our bets instead of 100%, we're betting 80. We're betting a lower frequency. And I think this is kind of what I'd expect. Those smaller pocket pairs we don't bet because we're going to be behind to the straights. We're going to be behind to the two pair straights, two pair trips, queen jack, even queen jack. Now we're checking here, which is, yeah, I think that's probably okay. I think that's probably okay. If we get called, that's probably not a value bet. I think if we're getting called, then you're looking at most of the calls are going to be straights. You can see the breakdown here with their calls. He's got a lot of straights. He's got a lot of those aces. So I think this is a little bit more realistic for the player. But overall, I think the hand, I played it okay. Definitely possibility of check raising if this player would show a decent pro bet. So hopefully you enjoyed this hand. If you do, I look tomorrow for another one.